Good evening, guys. My name is Tommy, and welcome to Northern A Reactions. Tonight we are listening to another Black Sabbath song, and this time it is When Death Calls. Now, this is a song that hasn't got Ozzy Osbourne or Ronnie James Dio leading the band, apparently. Apparently it's a guy called Tony Martin. This was suggested by producer Robert in the Patreon. And guys, if you're interested in that, I'll stick a link in the description section. But basically, he said that, a lot of people are probably going to ask you to do Ozzy songs or Ronnie James Dio songs. But actually, Tony Martin shouldn't be overlooked. And he was actually a great singer in this band. So, yeah, I'm all up for it. I think I've only heard one of each so far. I've only heard Iron Man. And I've heard Heaven and Hell. Yeah, it is Heaven and Hell. So yeah, I've only heard those two, so I would be interested to hear what Tony Martin sounded like. So yeah, this is just under 7 minutes long. I've got a lyric video just to help me along with the song along the way. But other than that, guys, I'm just gonna make sure that you can see what you need to see, and let's just jump in. Let's go.
We saw the world dim with the glow of the vertical sun.
Ooh, okay.
His skin crept cold, knowing that this was the hours of dying.
Love his voice.
Misguided mortals, you burn with me. Spirit of man cannot be found. When death calls, this is the hours of dying. When death calls, the spirit of man can be free.
Nice.
Tell me not, fear of the flames means that heaven is closer. For I believe Satan lives in the souls of the dying. Misguided mortals, you burn with me. Spirit of man cannot be found. When death calls, heaven is closer. When death calls, heal the flames from the souls of the dying. When death calls, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
Wow.
When death calls, you're gonna burn.
Okay. Okay. I thought that was really good. I thought that was very, very good. That was a complete song of two halves, really, wasn't it? The first part of that song was actually really quite nice. He had a really smooth, velvety tone to his voice. He sang with great clarity, really got some great range in there, and the riff in the chorus was great. I loved it. It started off on a chord that I didn't expect it to start off with, and ended up like dancing around the same couple of notes for a little bit. But really good. And then it picked up in the second half to a completely different song. It sounded like a completely different song. And there's no way that I would have said that this is Black Sabbath if I hadn't have been told. Don't forget, up until a couple of months ago, I didn't even know that Black Sabbath had another singer other than Ozzy Osbourne. It was only when I heard Heaven and Hell that I heard a different side to them. Now, I've never really heard any Black Sabbath songs in the past properly, other than Paranoid. But when I was at college, I have heard guitarists playing some of their songs, and I've heard them being performed without sitting down and listening to them properly. And the impression that I've always had in my head, maybe from those experiences where I've just heard the songs in the background, or I've heard people talking about the songs, or maybe a bit of my naivety as well, is I've always associated Black Sabbath with being this very raw, hard hitting, technically great band. And when I heard Paranoid, it certainly matched that kind of feeling that I've got. And I think that cemented that idea. It is um, quite repetitive in its melody, but the melody is quite high up, and Ozzy really goes for it. And again, it's got that kind of piercing, hits you hard sound. When I listen to Iron Man, again, the guitars in that, the solo, I think it's the way that it's mixed, or the tone that they choose on the amps. Again, it's got that quite piercing sound, and I think it matches Ozzy's tone to his voice really well. But Ronnie James Dio showed me a whole different side to Black Sabbath. And again, I've heard a softer, gentler, much more melodic, much more ambient sound to Black Sabbath tonight. And yeah, don't get me wrong as well, in the second half of the song tonight, where he starts going up into his higher ranges, he's got a bit of rasp. He's doing some of those ad libs that reminded me a little bit of Ronnie James Dio. It reminded me of Rainbow Stargazer. Um, he's giving me that similar kind of vibe. So I don't know if I don't know anything about the history of Black Sabbath, but I I wonder if when Ronnie James Dio left, Tony Martin was the person that replaced him. I wonder if they deliberately went for that similar kind of, um, cut from the same cloth kind of thing. Um, that would be interesting. So, any Black Sabbath fans out there, let me know, was that a conscious decision? Because he certainly gave me off those vibes. And again, it might just be coincidence, it might not be. But yeah, as for the voices, I think I prefer this side of Black Sabbath that I've heard as opposed to. Now, don't get me wrong, it's only two songs that I've ever heard from Ozzy, and I probably need to listen to a lot more. But from the very, very small sample of music that I have heard, I much prefer Ronnie James Dio and Tony Martin. Musically, what I liked about it was, again, just that whole ambient sound, the delay. I think there was synths in the background as well, and I just loved how there was the synth player. I think he just had a pedal note going on through the whole song, just one note, and it had that kind of like funeral organ sound all the way through, just one note, just setting the scene a little bit. Really enjoyed that, and then a little bit of a surprise there. We had Brian May playing guitar solo. So what's the deal with that? Were they closely connected as bands? Was Queen and Black Sabbath closely connected, or was it simply just because Brian May is a great guitarist? You guys are gonna have to let me know. That's gonna go straight into my playlist. That was Black Sabbath, When Death Calls. I hope you've liked the reaction. If you have, then take a look around. We've got absolutely tons of metal, and if you are brand new here, then thank you very much for tuning in. Actually, even if you're not brand new here, still thank you very much for tuning in and watch the video with me. But yeah, thanks very much, and I'll be back again tomorrow for some more reactions. I'll stick a link to Patreon and I'll stick a link to Discord in the description section, so check those out. And yeah, until next time, guys, have a good night, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Take care.